What's up, everybody? It's your boy T-Time Gaming, man. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button and also as well subscribe to the channel, man. We're trying to give 2 new EA College Football games a giveaway the day before the EA College Football game drops for the pre-edition, so that'll be the 15th. And we're trying to give it away to 2 people. I think we're at like 805 as subscribers right now. We're trying to get up to 1K. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so we can do this giveaway. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. So there has been a lot of news that has came out today, man, and I mean a lot of news. Allegedly, there's going to be some type of gameplay information. I don't know if it's a trailer. I don't know if it's a video. I don't know if it's a deep dive. But allegedly, there's going to be some gameplay trailer or information coming out tomorrow on Thursday, May 30th. Also as well, we got a lot of new information about Dynasty, the gameplay, Road to Glory. It's a lot to talk about here. Several, social media guys and people that are in the gaming community went down to Orlando last week. And we talked about this a little bit in our last video. They went down there, went to EA, played the game, and a lot of them put out videos and also as well information about what they seen in the new EA College Football game. So without further ado, we're going to go over some of the things that we learned today and what's going to be in the EA College Football game. What are some things that are not going to be in the EA College Football game? And I'm not going to lie, it's some good. There's some bad too. Not going to lie. It's actually a good bit of bad that I did not like what I seen today. But like I said, we should be getting some type of gameplay footage within the next, from what everybody's saying, 48 hours from me dropping this video. So let's go ahead and get into the details. All right, so I do want to kind of go ahead and start off with the bad news, which I think is kind of like the bad news. Let's talk about it. Road to Glory. That was kind of the big news that broke today from several different reporters, from several different people. I think Chris Vizzini was one of the guys that was really on it. Chris Vizzini, excuse me. He was one of the guys that were down there in Orlando. He works for The Athletic. He was one of the guys that went down there and played the game. And pretty much Road to Glory, there's some good things, but once again, there are some negative things. Let's just go ahead and get the negative out the way. Road to Glory is going to be a 10 to 20 hour story mode where you're starting in college, not high school. Again, that was a big L. So pretty much it should take about 10 to 20 hours of gameplay to complete. There's a pretty short amount of time in the career mode, which also scares me because are you not going to make us play? Like, we can't play every game. Like, that's also a concern for me. But anyway, I'll just read what he said. There's a pretty short amount of time for the career mode, but it's a unique of college football game where you play 4 years or 5 if you're a red shirt. And no, there is no COVID year in this game. As such, they wanted to make an extremely replayable mode where you can make different choices and have different outcomes throughout your career. No longer will you start in high school. Instead, picking your level as a recruit at the beginning and determine how you will grind to be getting play time. You either can be a 5-star recruit, which will start off at a 79 overall, a 4-star recruit who will start at a 75 overall, a 3-star recruit that would be starting at a 70 overall, and then a 2-star recruit that will start at a 65 overall. They also went on to say, if you choose a 2-star recruit, you will have to really spend a lot of time in practice before getting on the field. If you are a 5-star recruit, you will still have to win position battles. More on that in a bit to get a starting spot. From there, you will pick the things that are most important to you among the 14 pitch grades each school has, and you will get offers based on your star level and what schools align with what you deem is most important. So, with that being said, what this tells me is motivations are going to be in the game. So, for example, if you are from Southern California, let's just say you're from LA, and you are a 3-star recruit, and the most important thing to you is playtime, being close to home, and let's just say brand deals and NIL, which we're going to talk about that in a minute as well. You're going to probably get some schools like UCLA knocking. Maybe San Diego State because you're a 3-star. You might get some of those schools knocking for you, but you're not going to get the probably USCs of the world coming to knock for you because you're a 3-star recruit, if that makes sense. So again, just to give my own opinion on this was the worst news for me of the day because I feel like, dude, it's called Road to Glory. We should start off in high school and be able to earn those scholarships, not just say, hey, I want to be a 3-star recruit at 70. What schools can I get? I just kind of feel like that's lame. I thought EA kind of took the easy route out. You could at least let us play 4 games in high school. Let us at least go through the playoffs in high school. Something like that could have taken place. And I think everybody would have been okay with that, in my personal opinion. But for me, at least, I just feel like we should have been able to play some type of games in high school. That's what makes it important. That's what makes it good. That's what kind of makes the mode, honestly. So I am a little disappointed that EA is not including that in, and I am kind of disappointed that you're going to kind of get selected on what schools would possibly get you off of your motivations. I kind of feel like that's weak because some of that can change as well. But I guess that's why they have the transfer portal in the game, which we'll dive into later. All right, so the next thing up that's kind of on the bad end is there was also talk about, would we be able to export draft classes over from EA College Football 25 over to Madden 25? The answer for that is no. Chris Vizzini as well said in that. That will not happen because there's 2 different licensing teams, which makes sense. You have the NFL, PA, and you got the one team partners, 2 separate licensing companies and stuff like that. So there will not be a time where you're able to export your draft class from EA College Football over to Madden. That seems to be more so for legal reasons at this point. Also as well, now this is a little bit of good news. You will be able to take your Road to Glory player from EA College Football to Madden. Now, let's go ahead and deal kind of back into the bad news, unfortunately. With Road to Glory, you will only be able to play with 5 positions. That's going to be quarterback, running back, wide receiver, middle linebacker only, corner. No safety, no DN, no D tackle like you used to do in the back in the day. Only those positions, which that kind of sucks to me personally because we were able to play those different positions. Only positions you couldn't play was like punter, kicker, tight end, O-line. But you could play the other positions. To me, that kind of sucks that we're not going to be able to play those positions, but I get it. They want people to take their player over from Madden, and that's how the Madden formatting is. So they kind of want to keep that same consistency. So I do understand that, but it does kind of suck that we can only play with, 5 positions. That is a little annoying, but again, kind of expected from EA at this point. Now, there was one more kind of bad news thing that happened too as well today. So essentially, also reported as well today that you will not be able to create a prospect in the new EA College Football game. Again, sounds more so like a legal issue with now high school players can get NIL money too as well now. So I think that's kind of why they could not let us, you used to go in and create maybe like 2 or 3 recruits and stuff like that. Maybe you wanted to create your subscribers or your supporters and put them on the team and try to recruit them. You used to could do that. It sounds like now you are not going to be able to do that, which that was unfortunate, to be honest with you. That was unfortunate. That was not good news. I kind of like creating a couple recruits and stuff like that because it's just fun. But that's one thing that you will not be able to do, according to Chris Vizzini, according to other reporters that talked about it. I think Matt Brown said something about it as well. You will not be able to create prospects anymore, which, again, kind of sucks. But I think that's really more so because legal issues. Now, let's start transitioning over to some of the good things. So, the first thing I want to talk about is gameplay. A lot of the guys that were down there at EA last week talked about how the gameplay was smooth. It was nice. I didn't really hear anybody saying the gameplay was terrible, which automatically gives me a good feeling about the gameplay. It was a lot of talk about the game feels faster. The game feels more wide open. The game feels smoother. Those are all things that we have lacked in Madden. All of those things we have lacked in Madden. But it seems like in this game, they have brought those things back. And I think that's how it should feel. College football should feel faster. It should feel more fun to play. It should feel more, wide open. It should feel smoother. So those are things that we were concerned about. Is this going to be a Madden reskin? That's something that we've all been asking. From what everybody's saying, Ray Merriweather, Matt Brown, Chris Vizzini, all these guys are saying this does not feel like Madden at all. So again, this is good news for us. And again, that's all that everybody's been pretty much reporting, that this feels different. Now, let's jump a little bit into Dynasty in that because there's a lot going on with that. I kind of want to start out with the transfer portal. Now, I'm going to put a screenshot up here on the screen. And pretty much this is saying the transfer portal and how it's going to work in Dynasty. I thought this was really good. Instead of working like free agency, the transfer portal is woven into the normal recruiting process after the season. When this part of the calendar arrives, you will have to split your hours between high school recruits and transfers, just like most coaches have to do in real life. They did go ahead and say the latter of whom are not available during the season. So you will not be able to tamper, unfortunately. Prospects, transfers, having star ratings, and their recruiting process works much like high school counterparts. A few years into Dynasty, a new computer player in the portal may remember you from recruiting them out of high school. I like that. I think that shows connectivity. I think that shows, hey, this school went. I mean, it happens in real life. A lot of the guys that decide to go to one school, they go to that school, and if they don't like it, they go back and look at, hey, I talked to these guys in high school, whatever the case may be. So that happens a lot in real life as well. But I thought this was a really good point pointed out by Chris Vizzini as well, talking about how the transfer portal is going to work in the game. Now, this is a little bit of a negative, but from what they're also saying in this is that NIL is not going to be that big of a deal. So I know a lot of people thought you were just going to be able to throw bags at people, kind of like a Madden free agency type vibe, but I do not think that's going to be the vibe here. Guys are going to actually have to want to come to your school and want to be a part of your team, and it's not going to be just we're going to throw the biggest bag at somebody. So that's also going to play a role in this as well. Now, let's also talk about some more good stuff that happened. There are a few things that were highlighted in these other articles. There are going to be custom playbooks, which is amazing. That's something that we don't have in Madden. There's also going to be custom audibles as well, another thing that we don't have in Madden. And then also as well, I think this is a cool little touch. You're going to have a stadium pulse meter, so where you're able to see how loud the stadium is getting. I think that's going to be awesome. The article pretty much reads, yes, there are going to be custom playbooks and audibles. There are a 2-minute warning, which we just know is getting implemented this year. The stadium pulse is also back, and you can feel the loudness of the stadium in the vibrating controller. As the pass, the play art on the field could be difficult to read, and audibles and hot routes may not work depending on the crowd. This pretty much just fits in exactly what college football is. The atmosphere, the liveness, the loudness, everything of that is what college football is all about. And it seems like EA has done a really good job with setting the tone for what the atmosphere is going to look like in this game. And I do have to give them credit on this. I think they've done a really good job putting that out. And I think it's going to be a really good touch to this game, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it. Also, as well, there were a few songs that got approved too that are going to be in the game. Neck, that gets played by LSU, that's going to be in the game. Penn State, when they play that Mo Bamba in the whiteout games, that's going to be in the game. Sandstorm is going to be in the game as well. Zombie Nation is going to be in the game. Tsunami is going to be in the game. So there's several different songs and stuff like that that are part of the atmosphere of college football every Saturday afternoon, are going to be in this game, which I think is really dope, and I think it's really impressive from EA. Now let's dive a little bit more into Dynasty a little bit more. Now Dynasty mode is going to be able to do 30 seasons. Again, it used to be able to do, I think, 60. Again, I'll let it be, but 30 seasons, 32 users to a team, which we already kind of knew that already. Now, there will be a custom conference set up. Now, there is a little bit of a negative to this as well. You can only put 20 teams in a conference. Take that as you will, but that is the way that they're saying in this article, that pretty much you're only going to be able to do 20 players per conference, 20 teams per conference, and that's just that. Again, I think they should have probably just took the conference limits off, because I think we could see where it's like 32, 24 here. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Custom conferences will be in the game. You will be able to move your teams wherever you want to. But again, just wanted to let that be known that you can only put 20 teams in a conference. So for example, I think the ACC right now is at 17. They would only be able to add 3 more, and then it's finito. Next up, generic FCS schools are in Dynasty. Same thing we did seen in 2014. Nothing different there. I do wonder at one point will they go ahead and put like some real FCS schools in there. I don't know, but maybe down the line. Another one, skill tree returns to NCAA 14. Now we got to do a little bit of a deep dive on this, because this is a really good thing that EA has added in. Now, this goes back to the skill tree. EA has confirmed, and people have confirmed, that we are going to be able to hire and fire our coaches. We talked about this in, I think, 2 videos ago, that, those, when the first, full reveal came out, we talked about how it looks like from the wording that we're going to be able to fire and hire our coaches. Pretty much everybody that went down to EA, they confirmed that is the case. You will be able to hire and fire your coaches. You will be able to build these coaches. So Coaching Carousel is back. Let's get that out the way. Coaching Carousel is definitely confirmed to be back. You can start off as a coordinator, work your way up to a head coach. Offense or defense does not matter. But Coaching Carousel is back, which is another thing that was confirmed in this article as well. The skill tree will return. So, for example, if you want to be a recruiter and kind of focus on that a little bit more, you can do that. If you want to be more of a technician with like getting game plans right and stuff like that, you can do that. If you want to be a team builder that's a motivational type of guy, you can do that as well. I think that is a really good touch that EA had. They had it in the old game as well. But I think that's a really good, nice touch, and I'm glad they brought that back. And most importantly, they had to bring Coaching Carousel back. There was no question about that. That had to be back in the game. So in this next part of the video, I do want to talk about the recruiting process a little bit more as well in Dynasty Mode. Now, this article is from Robbie Canlin. He went on to say there is a good bit more details in recruiting in 2000 than there was in 2014, as you are assigned hours to recruit. This is given like a 2013 by when you used to have to make phone calls. In the offseason, your recruiting hours and transfer portal hours will be one and the same. Once again, forcing you to make decisions on whether you want to focus your effort. You also need to leave roster spots open for portal guys. The early signing period also makes its debut in the game, with the portal opening right after the early signing day. The recruiting process will happen in stages, as will scouting. I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll see. Gone is the ability to get a full scout on one guy in a week like we used to could do, as you won't be able to get guys skill tree until you bring him on an official visit. Woo! I'm just actually reading this for the first time, so that's actually crazy. You will have to stay above a cut line through the process, going through the recruits, locking in his top 10, 8, 5, and 3. You'll divide your allocations of your allotment of recruiting hours around your recruiting board. The hours we saw on screen were 55, but I don't know if that has been confirmed of the recruiting hours to spend, but I think it depends on your staff skill tree. Players will again have those things important to them, the 14 pitch grades. And that's pretty much like stay close to home, the regular stuff, pretty much the motivations. There will no longer be a way to manipulate the recruiting logic to pull in guys that weren't interested in playing by throwing points at them. That was something I talked about in my freaking wish list. I said you shouldn't be able to just throw points at a guy because you want him. If he don't want to come there, he doesn't want to come there. But I'm glad they bring that up. If they value proximity to home, most live in California, or even if Georgia, the Bulldogs, if one of the players lives in Georgia, if one of the players lives in California and the Georgia Bulldogs is recruiting him, he's not going to go there because he wants to be close to home in California. So this was something that I talked about. Within that, it is much harder to rapidly build a smaller program into a national title contender. No longer will you spend 1 year with a small school and be able to bring in 4 stars and 5-star recruits like you were in 14. Those top recruits will not consider your school and will have you locked out with deal breakers early on. Instead, you're going to have to truly build your program up over years, building up these pitch grades to be able to land top-tier talent in both the portal and recruiting down the line. He also went on to say on the recruiting visits, once a player locks in his top 5, you will be able to bring him in on a visit. It says you will once again be able to design a recruit visit and show him things that matter to him, or hide the things that you might not be graded as high in. What game you bring someone to will matter. This game's outcome. So if you win or lose, this will affect if you're going to be able to get this recruit or not. So you can't bring him to, you got Georgia State and you're playing against Alabama in Atlanta and you think you're going to and you get blowed out. That's going to affect your chances of getting him. For example, if you bring in a recruit to a game against number 2 Ohio State and win, will move you a lot closer to signing him than if you bring him to a game against ULM at Monroe and win. So it also penalizes you if you bring him against a softie. So if I'm Clemson and I bring him against Charlotte, if that's the case, that's going to penalize me as well. We need to kind of bring him in on at least a Power 4 school probably, and a team that's somewhat actually decent. So it seems like the recruiting is really going to be in depth. Shout out to Robbie Kalen. He's the one who put this out there. But this is going to be a very in-depth game as far as it comes to recruiting and dynasty. You can tell they put all their effort towards that. Now, another good thing that we wanted or didn't want in the game was X Factors. X Factors will not be in this game. That has now been confirmed from Robbie Kellen. They will not be in the game. Now, there will be abilities in the game, but there will not be an actual, hold on, hey, this is X Factor, which I think X Factors is what has ruined Madden. But that's another story for another day. But that will not be in the game, but there will be abilities for certain players in the game. So I like that. I'm not really too mad at that as well. I think that's a good deal. He also talked about the wear and tear method. So, for example, if you give the ball to a guy 30 times a game, he will get tired. He will be more open to getting hurt. He will wear down. So he goes on to say that this wear and tear thing is going to make a difference in the game. You can feel the difference when a person has ran the ball 10 times, 15 times, 5 times. You can feel the difference in the game, which I think is also awesome as well. He talked about also as well running the ball and how if you follow your blocks, you're gonna have a lot more success in running the ball. It's not just, hey, let me get to the outside like you used to do on the old EA college football game. You actually got to kind of follow your blocks, and if not, you're gonna be in trouble. He also talked about a new passing system. He said it's different than Madden, but there is gonna be a new passing system there that is going to play a role in how you pass the ball, how accurate you can be. Your player's rating is going to be pretty determining to that as well. Audibles, hot routes, protection slides, all that stuff is going to matter when it comes to blocking and just being able to play the game, which that's how it should be. This is real football, so I don't have a problem with that. They also stated there will be a new kicking system that's going to make it a little bit more difficult to make kicks. And I'm not mad at that either. I think that's going to be a really good thing for EA. They kind of been wanting to change that for a couple years now. And I think it's just time to change it at this point. And I think now with this new EA college football game, it was the perfect timing. So I don't have any problems with that as well. I think that's a really good deal for them. And that is going to be something that they're going to probably jump into further. I'm guessing tomorrow. There's going to be some type of information coming out in the next couple days from what everybody's saying. And a lot of people have hinted at tomorrow, Thursday, May the 30th. So as I've been recording this is more breaking news that has broken off. Allegedly, Eric Rayweather, he's a really good guy with like Madden. I know he does a lot with EA and stuff like that. So he has came out and actually pretty much said that it looks like the gameplay info I have is still being finalized and I'll have to wait till Friday to share, which insinuates there's going to be something going down Friday. I think Thursday, maybe nothing, but it looks like now Friday, there's going to be some gameplay details coming out. That's what he said in his tweet. A slight pushback, but you'll have the gameplay details this week. I assume EA is dropping a trailer with this as well. So this is literally breaking news as I'm recording this on the 29th. So there's going to be something, it sounds like a trailer, allegedly, on June the 1st. That's what it sounds like. So again, take that with a grain of salt, but Eric Rayweather is a guy that's pretty well in the know with EA. So I would think he actually knows what he's talking about, but this is happening as I'm recording this. It sounds like we're going to get some type of gameplay trailer probably on Friday, June the 1st. One last thing here before we close out this video, and I talked about this a little bit earlier, but also as well, NIL will technically not be in Dynasty. They're going to kind of make it seem like there's something called quote-unquote brand exposure, and pretty much this is being done because they feel like NIL is changing so much and there could be another change in a couple of days and a couple of weeks or whatever the case may be. So they did say that NIL won't really be that big of a thing, but there will be something that is going to focus on quote-unquote brand exposure. So again, I don't know what that means by that. I don't know if that means the schools that do provide more NIL of money, like let's just say Texas A&M, for example, is if a person wants quote-unquote brand exposure. I don't know if that means if we maybe play more games on TV, does that, affected as well. So there's several different things in there, but I did want to bring that up before we end the video. But all right, y'all, I think that's pretty much everything that has taken place as far as news-wise in this thing. I will be in LA tomorrow, so I will try to get a video out on Friday because I should have my equipment with me. I'm going to try to get a video out on Friday. If something pops off, which it sounds like there will be something to pop off, I will run back to the hotel and literally do a video just for y'all. So, again, man, I think we're up for an exciting couple of weeks. I think Eric Rayweather said that one of the videos, like the one of the full reveals, or not full, one of the deep dives, they said the video's like long. So I don't know what that means again, but it sounds like to me we're going to get a lot of information in the next couple of days, and I will be here to report it even while I'm on vacation. So, like I said, man, go ahead, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and again, man, we appreciate y'all's love and support. We will be back probably Friday, man. If they drop some information, we'll definitely be back.